So, hallo und herzlich willkommen zu der schon 6. Folge des Let's Read, der mehr oder weniger Visual Novel The Life and Suffering of Sir Brante mit unserem Hauptcharakter Timothy Brante, 12 Jahre alt, Estate Lowborn und die Berufung ist der Schuljunge, Schoolboy. Nobility haben wir bis jetzt noch 0 Punkte gesammelt. Ingenuity haben wir 3 Punkte gesammelt. Also wir sind fast schon bei der 3. Stufe. Und Willpower sind wir aktuell bei 0. Was gut ist, weil wir sind dafür ready for action. Dementsprechend würde ich sagen, würde ich nicht lange weiter auf die Folter spannen, sondern wir starten das nächste Kapitel. Es ist natürlich ist quasi ein Unterkapitel, weil wir sind insgesamt in Chapter 2. Dementsprechend nur ein Unterkapitel, aber bei jenen mit dem Namen A Storm of Expectations. Finally the day comes when the teachers stop coming to the house. But before you can breathe a sigh of relief, you put away the books. Father asks you to come to his study. You have grown, my son. It's time for you to continue your education away from home. I've chosen a deserving school for you, Sir Tibor School for the children of noblemen and well-off commoners. Naturally, it's not a boarding school for nobles, so you will study there during the day and come home in the evening. You share the news with your best friend Thomas. Sir Tibor School, eh? Yeah, I gotta ask my parents to send me there too as soon as they get the coin together. Father says his workshop has toiled day and night for years to save up for my education. The school is based in an ancient estate of Arcanian design. The classrooms are tall and spacious, with the massive benches, the sounds of scraping quills and lectures on history and imperial law and theology echo under the vaulted ceilings. The results are strict, the lessons tiring. The rules are strict. Muss ich jetzt vorlesen? Wurscht. The rules are strict, the lessons tiring. Restless Thomas keeps getting distracted, and several times he gets his hand slapped with a stick for it. Every teacher demands flawless mastery of their subject. Every day, Father asks you about your studies. You have already told him twice how Magra joined the empire and how the nobles' court of honor is different from the commoners' civil court in the city prefecture. But Father keeps pressuring you to work even harder. When it is time to go to bed, Mother will not let you go to sleep until you recite a newly learned prayer for her. And when it's time to go to school, you promise her every day that you will behave with great humility and steer clear of insolent behavior of any kind. For you still live by the commoner's lot, and that lot is hard work and suffering. Your first month in school draws to a close, and the teachers announce that there will be exams at the end of the month to determine the best and the worst students in each subject. Father insists that you devote all your spare time to studying law and history if you wish to follow in his footsteps. But when you speak to Mother every day, you start considering theology. You still remember the revelations and divine visions that came to you in the early years. You have only one more day until the exam. You have locked yourself away in your room. It is already getting late. Your desk is covered with handwritten notes surrounded by leather-bound books. Just looking at them makes you queasy, but you have to read through all of them again, at least for one of your subjects. There is a nagging thought in your mind. Thomas ended up in big trouble the other day. He got in a fight with several boys who live next street. They heard about your wooden fortress and got in an outrage by the fortification built by commoners. They swore to dismantle it tonight. Thomas swore he would defend the fortress until the end. Perhaps you should abandon the books and rescue the friend in need. But then you hear your little brother Nathan knocking at the door. He stands there shyly, not saying a word. He often does that, standing still and staying speechless until either you speak first or he runs away. But this time he actually says something. The door is locked. Are you okay, Timothy? Is there anything I can do to help? Your head is spinning. This is the last evening before the school exam. If you fail, your family will be very disappointed. You have to refresh your memory on law or theology, either one or the other. But Thomas and your father are about to be stormed. Why today of all days? You grind your teeth and rage at the thought. Nathan is by the door trying not to bother you. He wants to help you the only way he can, for reasons known only to him. Will you accept his help? Also wir können focus on law and history. Go help Thomas. Study theology. Spend a moment with Nathan. Okay, also 1, 2, 3, es wird eines der oberen 2. 4, 5, 6, eines der unteren 2. Es ist eine 4. Also wir lernen entweder Theologie oder Spenden, wie sagt man das jetzt auf Deutsch? Oder wir haben einen Moment mit unserem kleinen Bruder Nathan. 1, 2, 3, Study Theology. 4, 5, 6, Spend a Moment with Nathan. Es ist tatsächlich eine 5. Wir spendieren Nathan den Moment. You put everything away and accept your brother's offer to help. You cannot help but pay attention to your brother's quiet, weak voice. You push the book. Also wie alt wird der eigentlich sein? Warte mal. Relations Family. Verdammt. Ist nicht angegeben. Wurscht. You cannot help but pay attention to your brother's quiet, weak voice. You push the books away. Nathan runs to you and wraps his arms around your legs. They should just leave you alone. I don't want to get sick. Warmth emanates from his hands. You feel the burden of the responsibilities thrust fall from your shoulders. At last you realize something. You can make your own decisions rather than submitting to the will of others. You laugh at this realization and feel a new You laugh at this realization and feel a new spring in your step. Nathan laughs with joy when he feels this. He takes your hand and pulls you outside. You have studied enough. You spent the rest of the evening playing with your little brother, teaching him how to build a watchtower out of wooden planks, sticks, and old rags behind the house. Nathan's success in construction leaves much to be desired, unless his skills in covering himself with mud. Still, he is absolutely overjoyed. The morning comes. You barely have time to wake up before you're walking to the menacing edifice of the school. The entire day is a constant flow of questions demanding answers. You give satisfactory responses in law and history, although you are somewhat confused by the many technicalities. You give satisfactory responses on law and history, although you are somewhat confused by the many technicalities and chronological orders. Your knowledge of the interpretations of the lots leaves much to be desired. Your parents are dissatisfied with your performance. You know what you could have. You know that you could have worked harder. Da muss ich mal entschuldigen, diese Leseskills in den Kapiteln von der absoluten Vollkatastrophe, aber manchmal ist es, was es ist. Manchmal läuft es aber nicht rund, nicht? Ja, jeder hat so einen Moment, nicht? Still you believe yesterday was not a waste. Ja, jetzt haben wir schon 10 Willpower. Es kommt sicher irgendwann mal in einen entscheidenden Moment, machen wir es dann. Vielleicht ist es noch nicht in unserer Adoleszenz, aber noble titles. Your education continues. As you study imperial law, you come to the realization that there is a certain hierarchy even within the noble estate. It seems your father's status is not quite equal to that of the more eminent human and Archnean gentry. And what is the difference between nobles of the mantle and those of the sword, Timothy? You already have an answer ready. The latter status is hereditary, meaning that it is passed down from father to son. After the Agnians, nobles of the sword are the most eminent humans in the empire. They own land and estates. They fill offices of the highest ranks, and the names of their bloodlines are preserved within the Great Blue Book. Nobility of the sword can only be granted only by the overseer of the province of the emperor himself, or the emperor himself. And how are such eminent people addressed? With the honorific L before their last name, you respond. Sir Augustine Elbornay, for example. Father pats you on the shoulder, clearly pleased. And what about the Arcanians and their status? What have you learned about them? The Arcanians stand above all human gentry. They are born to rule over humans regardless of their titles. No L is required when addressing them. They need no honorifics, for the names of the ancient dynasties are known to all. Father nods somberly. Yes, we can never be their equals. Do whatever an Arcanian tells you and never defy them. Ever. And what about grandfather and me? Where do we stand as nobles? This is easy. Father and grandfather are nobles of the mental. This title cannot be inherited, but it can be earned by any commoner as a reward for great service to the empire in the legion, or as a civil servant. Father suddenly grows quiet and looks you in the eye intently. Yes, and someday you will earn a noble title too, son. All in due time. Ja, das, ob man jetzt so sicher sein kann, weiß man nicht, ne? Sons of the nobility. Sir Tiber's school teaches children of all stripes. Nobles of the mental and low-born parents can send their sons here. And every passing day the children of noblemen invent new ways to snub and bully the commoners. Most of the time the bully leading them is Diderik, the son of the secretary of the city hall and a self-important slob. The sons of noblemen never pick on you, however. They know that your father has been ennobled by the mental. However, Diderik and his retinue soon choose Thomas as their favorite victim. Time and time again you ask your friend not to pay them any mind, but again and again Thomas grows angry and snaps at the self-satisfied mockery. It is early morning. The students are busy flocking in the classroom for the next lesson. You wave Thomas over when you see him. He waves back at you, and then a bucket full of slop splashes on him. Needlessly to say, it is the word of Diderik and his entourage. You hear his family creaky laughter. The tailor's son stinks. How dare he sit next to decent folk? Thomas clenches his fist. You are dead, Diderik. He throws himself at Diderik's haughty entourage like a soldier ready to wage war. He attacks them first. This is just what they expected, and they are free to retaliate. He barely makes one movement before 4 pairs of hands grab him at once. Diderik sneers and kicks your friend in the belly. Thomas gasps for air and starts coughing. You stand between them as Diderik readies another kick. The nobleman's son cocks an eyebrow. Why do you mingle with commoners, he asks. Your father is a noble of the mental. You ought to be friends with your own kind, your equals, not the dirt beneath your feet. Behind him, 4 boys hold Thomas down as he struggles furiously. The other students are watching you, frozen in fear. Diderik hardly extends a hand to you. He clearly expects you to shake it. What will you do? Also, die Option, die Hand des Dideriks zu nehmen, steht uns gar nicht offen. Conditions to meet. Keiner gleich 1 mit Thomas, wir haben 2. Okay, also geht schon mal gar nicht. Challenge Diderik to a fight. Turn him over to the teachers. Admonish the nobleman's son. Also logischerweise 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Es ist eine 2. Challenge Diderik to a fight. You do not shake his hand. Instead, you challenge Diederik to display at least some dignity by fighting you one on one. That is, if he considers himself a nobleman's son, of course. Diederik's face grows serious. There is no way for him to refuse this challenge in public. Diederik makes a sign and Thomas is released and pushed on the floor. He gets back on his feet, cursing and itching to rush at them again, but you hold your friend back. The teacher of imperial law comes into the room just in time. Everybody immediately returns to their seats. A day full of lessons begins. You keep daydreaming of Diederik's face and how you are going to put an end to that nasty smile of his. Let's catch that bastard together and clean his clock. He hurt me, not you. The deal has been made, you tell your friend. This is a matter of your honor now. Thomas huffs angrily, but agrees. Diederik is already waiting for you in the narrow back street by the school. His retinue by his side. You walk forward and give him an opportunity to end this dispute once for all. This is the nobleman's way. If you win this battle, Diederik and the other children of nobles will never pick on the commoner's sons again. If he wins, you will never stand in their way and protect other students. You will fight him one-on-one. Diederik walks forwardly, uncertainly. You both roll up your sleeves. You raise your fists in a fighting stance. Diederik tries to copy your movements. You hit him first. Diederik does manage to land several glancing blows, but he's fighting a losing battle. He has never been in a real street fight. Thomas nods in approval. You have learned a lot from him. It does not take long for Diederik to stop fighting back. One more blow and he squeals and raises his hands. You have won. You turn to the other nobleman's sons with a victorious look on your face. No more teasing, and if anyone else says so much as one bad word about Thomas, they will pay. Diederik's former retinue disperse silently. Also, wir sind richtig gute Buddies mit dem Kollegen Thomas. Das ist schon mal sicher. Kurzer Schluck vom Wasser. Hervorragend. Die Nobility steigern wir auch. Also es war schon nicht schlecht, wenn man... Ich meine, es ist wie es ist, der Würfel entscheidet. Aber nur zum Beispiel auf 1 jetzt skillen, weiß ich nicht. Ich weiß nicht, ob der Würfel das auch weise agiert. Ja, und jetzt haben wir ja eben angefangen mit der zweiten, deswegen erwähne ich das. Deswegen wird das erwähnt. The Silver Tree. Your theology teachers tell you more about Anizote. It is more than just a provincial capital. It is also a sacred place blessed by the gods. It is where the twin gods' first disciples spilled their blood, and from that blood grew that sacred silver tree. Its enormous foliage hangs over the city. You see its branches in the sky every day. But you have never approached the trunk of the tree yourself. Today you will be taking your first trip to the Silver Tree. Your class is visiting a service in the great temple by the tree's very roots. Thanks to your theology teacher, you and the other students will witness this landmark of the twins at went up close. Everybody's excited. Soon you and the other boys enter the slums surrounding the church district of Anizote. The roots are pulsating under your feet. They spread underground all throughout the area. Pathetic, cramped hovels and filthy streets surround the trunk of the tree. They are home to paupers, day laborers and preachers. The people of the district bow humbly to you and point you towards the temple. They seem at peace despite the abject poverty in which they live. All who live directly beneath the tree are filled with its divine grace. Your teacher says, people come here to make peace with the world and their fate in it. Your class is unusually quiet. Everyone is listening to the rustling of the leaves and the underground beating of the roots. Matrix. The sky above you is obscured by the tree's canopy. You find the temple of the twin gods right next to the tremendous trunk of the tree. It almost seems a part of it. There is a crowd there, pilgrims dressed in traveling clothes, paupers and beggars, common people of the city and the occasional well-dressed noble. There are arguments among some people who are gathered in separate small groups. Many people are wandering around, staring upward at the tree's branches. The tree embraces you with its might, and the calm emanating from it. You are filled with a desire to sit down and think of the world, to learn something about yourself. The touch the silver white bark and hearken to the whispering leaves. You are distracted enough to fall back from the rest of your classmates. You notice a small path. It should take you right next to the trunk. A tall red-haired woman walks out of the crowd of pilgrims. She's wearing a worn white robe. She's no longer young, but her face is youthful and covered in freckles. Her hands clutch a book. You have never seen this lady pilgrim before, yet she looks at you almost as if she has recognized a lifelong friend. She beckons to you and says her name, Matilde, a preacher from Astinia. What she says next shakes you to your very core. It is commendable to see a young man so keen to learn the teaching of the twins, she says, yet you will never follow the light of truth within the walls of the temple. Inside you will find only the lies about the lots, the erring words of prophet Isaiah, sanctified by the passages of the centuries. Yet anyone who sets out to read the accounts of the twins' own lives knows that they never so much as mentioned the lots. The red-haired preacher's words frighten you. They clash with everything you have heard from Mother, everything you have been taught at school. The lots are a lie? You freeze in fear. Should you argue with Matilde, or ask her for more information? Or should you treat her as a mad woman and catch up with your classmates? You suddenly feel a small, warm hand grasp your own. You see a girl right next to you. She's just a little older than you, wearing a black dress, threadbare yet almost spotless. Her hair is covered by a handkerchief, with only a single golden lock showing. Okay, das ist nicht das Bild, was wir da sehen, aber ja. Her brown eyes are burning with rage, her hand pulling you away from the red-haired preacher. You stare in confusion at the strange young girl, your cheeks flush by the sudden touch. There is just a bit of color on her cheeks too, but then she starts speaking to you quickly. Gianni? Don't listen to her, she's dangerous. Come to the temple with me, only there will you see the truth. You stand there surrounded by the crowd of praying pilgrims and the sounds of shuffling feet torn between two people you have never seen before, and each of them expects you to follow her. But all the while you hear the whispering of the wind in the tree's branches. The branches reach out for you, almost as if the trees wish to speak to you itself. Can you hear its voices? Okay, so leave them and approach the tree. Stay with the red-haired pilgrim girl, or follow the girl into the temple. Was hat das gewesen? Oh, eine Epiphany haben wir dafür gebraucht. Schade. You open yourself to the tree and listen as it speaks. Willpower. Na gut. 1, 2 is follow the girl into the temple. 3, 4 is stay with the red-haired pilgrim. And 5, 6 is leave them and approach the tree. Es ist eine sogenannte 2. Also dementsprechend follow the girl into the temple. Da kriegen wir Destiny, Matters of the Heart, Willpower, -5, aber damit können wir umgehen. Und Genie ist also mit Genie. Ist jetzt acquainted, and plus eins. Follow the girl into the temple. What truth will you learn inside the temple? You turn your back on the suspicious preacher and follow the girl inside. She introduces herself to you along the way. Her name is Jeannie. The temple is filled with light. It is separated into two halves, just like the temple in your district. One for the commoners and one for the nobles. Yet this temple is far more grand than that one. You see two towering statues by the altar, carved with impeccable detail. They depict the twins. The elder bears an empathetic smile and the younger has a stern look about him. They are depicted in the garments of pilgrims, frozen in their eternal journey to meet one another. My uncle is one of the priests in this temple. I am an acolyte. I work in the temple. I help him clean the temple and cook food for the poor, and I also greet the worshippers. People come here all the time. Many are lost and they don't know where to go once they are inside. But nobody should feel lost in its place. The temple is for all the estates. Jeannie's face is no longer angry. The red-haired preacher is long forgotten. She is like a warm ray of light under the roof of the grand bright temple. You ask her a question. Is she happy in her service to the twins? Of course I am. This is where I belong, inside the temple. I feel the twins watching over me all the time. When I'm with them, I'm never afraid, never sad. She looks at the statues when she mentions the twins and smiles at them as if they are their close friends. Okay, that's very creepy. Do you feel it too? You too turn your eyes to face the twin gods. You feel the eyes of the elder upon you. They feel warm like mother's loving words. You feel virtue and order in the eyes of the younger. They feel like father's words of pride and respect. I knew it. I knew you could feel it. It's so easy when you're in the temple, but they watch over us all the time, you know. Just pray from your heart. Remember how it feels all the time, even back home, even on a long journey. Jeannie's voice is clear and insistent. As you listen to her, you just barely touch the palm of your hand that held hers a moment ago. Maybe it's just an illusion, but that hand feels warmer now. Hey man. Yo. You keep looking back at the tree all the way home, but it's not the tree you see. You see Jeannie's brown eyes filled with inscrutable wisdom. Young crush, alla. Colleague Timothy. Since acquaintance, by the will of the twins you were destined to meet. Alright. Gut, wir haben noch aber, also Willpower ist gleich 5. Ja, wir sind noch ready for action. Matters of the heart, event has happened. Meet a girl. You experience your first romantic feelings. Junge ist horny, alla. Sag ich jetzt. The shadow of the past. Another school day has ended, and you are making your way home, still mulling over the things you learned from your teachers, the founding of the empire, the eternal and unshakable rule of a single dynasty, the 3 estates, each with its own rights. What an odd sort of order the world has, and yet so mysterious. At least it sounds that way when your teachers talk about it. Mother is waiting for you on the porch. She smiles gently when she sees you, and yet her expression still shows great concern. Father left on a trip to several distant migrant towns a few days ago. Since then, Mother has been trying to tell you something, but she seems uncertain. Son, could you put your things away and come pray with me? You join Mother in a prayer to the twins. She prays with fervent sincerity, her head bowed low, reciting the words of obedience to them and their greater design in a barely audible whisper. You repeat after her, just as she has taught you ever since you were a little boy. When the prayer ends, Mother sighs and turns to you. Timothy, my son, you are 13 now. You will be grown soon. It's time you learned about certain things that are important to our family. Difficult things. It's about your father and me, about our marriage. You gaze curiously into Mother's eyes. I am sure you've wondered about this before. Your father is a noble man of the mantle, so how could he marry a commoner with another man's child? But you see, Timothy, your father, when his first wife Amalia El Bornee died, it was a painful blow to him. He lost the will to live, lost all purpose. He felt like his own destiny was cut short that day as well. And then he met me. You know the troubles I had in the past? I went to the prefecture as a petitioner to ask them for help, protection, justice. When I was a young girl, I worked at a small shop that sold crockery and dishes. A nobleman took a liking to me. May his name be forever forgotten. The twins know I was humble and honored his lot to rule, but he took me by force. Mother falls silent, summoning the courage to continue. Or the courage. Gloria is the nobleman's daughter, but he was outraged. How could I have the gall to burden him with low-born progeny? He turned me out on the street with the little baby in my arms. Mother's voice is shaking now. You take her hand tenderly. I had no home, no honor, nowhere to go, no one to help me. When I went to the prefecture, I didn't really think the judges there would help me find justice against my former master. But when Sir Robert heard my plea, his eyes met mine, and I believed that at that very moment the twins themselves granted him the gift of their love. Your father told me that there was nothing he could do to make that detestable nobleman marry me, but he would never abandon me and baby Gloria, and if I agreed, he would take me into his own home. Tears are running down Mother's cheeks. And I knew it, my son. I knew how much his honor and reputation would suffer. But caring for me brought him back to life. It's like he experienced another sacrament. He rediscovered his noble purpose, his lot to rule and protect and care for others. But this decision to marry me, he is still paying for it today. Your father had the courage to defy your grandfather and founder of his bloodline. If only you knew how much he had to endure, my son. If only you had to If you only knew the despicable rumors we heard about the Brantes all over Anizote. It was only thanks to the efforts of Sir Gregor that the Brante bloodline managed to hang on to what little remained of its reputation. And now the noble families have all but forgotten about the scandal. Thank the twins. Mother falls silent. She looks at you intently. Do you understand what she's telling you? My son, I'm not telling you this just to share the pain of my past. I have no reason to complain. Even Sir Gregor has accepted me through gritted teeth. But you need to understand the heavy burden of our family must bear, including our scandalous marriage and Gloria's foul origin. And Gloria, she can never be a Brante. Even if the elder Brantes agreed, the news would stir up the old scandal in the minds of high society, and if that were to happen, Timothy, they would see even your birth as illegitimate. Mother sighs heavily. What I told you just now is something you have to know, son. You are about to enter adult life, but my lot, I must be humble. I cannot tell you how to treat your family, but may I ask you a question? Now that you know all of this, do you still see Gloria as your sister? Muss man schauen. Also ist jetzt schon ein bisschen emotional, ganz ehrlich. Auf einmal hat sowas aus, nicht ganz spür unsympathisch, auf einmal so ein Banger. Jetzt die Frage. Warum haben wir das freigeschalten eigentlich? Ah, okay, weil die Relations unter 3 sind. Okay, was wird er machen, der Timothy? Except, also er ist eher gar nicht Schwein, so mir schreibt, das mir kriegt, warte, ich mal kurz ein neues Wasser ein, bevor es dann gerollt wird. Die finale Entscheidung der Folge 6. Accept Gloria as your sister, distance yourself from Gloria oder evade the question. Was macht er? Er ist ja gar nicht Paket, das sage ich jetzt direkt da. Timothy, enttäusche mich nicht. Enttäusche mich nicht. Accept Gloria as your sister. Das lese ich zum 10. Mal vor. Passt ja. Also 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Es ist eine 3. Gott. Der Kollegin dasht mir jedes Mal aufs Nerven. Also Timothy Brante. Okay. Distance yourself from Gloria. What is good for the family is good for you. You will be more wary when dealing with Gloria from now on. God. You stand up straight, then softly and politely thank Mother for her warning. From this point on, you will be more wary and prudent when it comes to Gloria. You are not a noble yet, but you are still responsible for the family's reputation. You understand very well that internal family matters could drag the family into dishonor at any moment. Mother's eyes fill with sorrow and understanding. God. Timothy. Du Schwein. Gott, das macht mich jetzt fertig. Das macht mich jetzt fertig. That's right, Timothy. You are right to put your family first. It is your duty to carry on the bloodline after all. No matter what happens to me or Gloria, I will always be grateful to this home for everything it has given us. Just then, you hear Gloria carefully knock at the door of Mother's chambers. Mother, Timothy, I couldn't find you. You cut her off. God. You and the Mother are discussing something important. Gloria should wait until you are done. Er hat sogar noch verteidigt. Er hat es verteidigt am Tisch. Okay? Das muss einfach sein Hass gegenüber den Stefan. Es ist nicht um die Liebe gegenüber seiner Schwester gegangen, der hat sich ja schon dumm auspeitschen lassen, also war das schon mal fraglich. Es ist um den Hass gegenüber Stefan gegangen. Why, Timothy? You're growing up quickly. Do you learn that from your elder brother? Or grandfather, perhaps? Gloria snarls back at you, but still does as she is told and leaves. What a sigh. Mother gives you a kiss on the forehead and returns to her prayers. When you leave, Mother remains alone by her bedside, thanking the twins for the gift of humility with a quiet prayer. Gott. Meine Herren. Das war Leberhaken irgendwie jetzt. Stimmung ist bei mir ein bisschen draußen, bin ich ehrlich. Oh, sorry. Gut, na dann. Dementsprechend vielen Dank auch, dass ihr bei dieser Let's Read-Folge dabei wart. Und wir sehen uns, hören uns demnächst in der Zukunft. Dankeschön. Ciao, ciao.